compensation is essentially for persons who are legally holders of property or land, and they are compensated fair value for that in public interest or for the purposes of a public project or program. So if you find yourself, for example, in riparian land, you can be sure you are in the wrong place. Because as the PS has mentioned to you, riparian land is not private, cannot be in private hands. That is a public way live, and you certainly are in the wrong place. However, we are nonetheless, as government, conscientious of certain realities. A lot of our people either live or work around riparian areas. And I'll give you a good example. Right here, not far from where we are seated now, the area we call Grogan, which is below Kirinyaga Road, we did a quick mapping of the number of mechanics who are working there and were affected by the clearing of that riparian area. And our last count had already reached about 6,000 people. Now, if 6,000 people were working in one small location, certainly as the Nairobi city government and national government, we are aware and conscientious of the fact that we must therefore then think about where and how will these community of persons work and earn their livelihoods from. And I will say that we are already in an engagement with the Grogan mechanic community to essentially see how they can be rehabilitated in a way that is sustainable economically, but sustainable in terms of ensuring that there is no pollution going back into the river. And so for the purposes of holistically looking at that question, on one side, we are certainly clearing our riparian areas, but on the other hand, we are also conscientious of the fact that once people are moved, that they must be relocated in a sustainable way. And that is something we're keeping in mind. We have identified so far at least there are now over 600 pollution points. I know your question was how many people? People must be in their multiples of thousands. But we have identified at least over 600 pollution points. And those are concentration points of where our efforts will begin, even as we begin to work towards a more conscientious approach where we're discouraging and working with the general public to stop and desist from polluting our river ecosystem. The last point was on informal settlements. This is a huge, huge, huge question. You are aware the Nairobi City County and national government are now rolling out a program on affordable housing across the country and also here in Nairobi. One of the things that involves is upgrading or regenerating our informal settlements. But as we speak now, there is work that is underway in terms of improving what we call community ablution facilities in informal settlements. What that will do, in the interim, it will mitigate against communities using the river ecosystem for the purposes of sanitation. And so, we already are working with civil society organizations, development partners, and other agencies to ensure we see a rapid increase of community ablution blocks within our informal settlement areas so that, one, our people, though in that context before the regeneration is complete, are living in dignity, but that we are addressing the sanitation question. Thank you.
This exercise that we are doing, or this exercise that is being undertaken, is not going to spare anybody who releases waste into Nairobi River. And that is, I think, the bottom line that all of us should take. And that is the message. We are going to do various initiatives, various strategies. But it is about ensuring that nobody, and I mean nobody, will be spared when it comes to cleaning the river. All those who have been emptying effluent in the river and who continue to do that, even as we continue cleaning, are put on notice. And they should know that we have various laws and regulations. We will make, we have put a command center, we have put an enforcement officers, both from the police, the city inspectorate, all of them are there. We have involved the city magistrates court, so everybody has been mobilized. NEMA is part of this. The public health is part of this. So all actors in this thing, we are together. So those who are culprits, they will be charged either under the MCA Act, that is the NEMA Act, public health, city government bylaws, public health laws, and even under the normal penal code. So we have assembled all those tools to ensure that nobody escapes exactly what we are doing. Of course, the purpose is not to arrest people. The purpose is to clean the river, which we are doing, and to clean Nairobi, to remove the garbage. That we are doing. But we are simply saying and putting on notice those who have been, it has been their business to empty the waste into the river, that under all the acts that are existing, right from the penal code all the way, people will be charged accordingly.